All right, let's call this meeting to order. We don't have it on the agenda, but I'm going to do this anyways because I just think this is the best way to start a meeting. If you don't mind, I'm going to have Skip will do the pledge, and then Jeremy will do the invocation.
Please turn and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you pray with me? Lord, thank you so much that we live in such a great, special place in the beautiful free state of Florida, that we can have citizens that are engaged and interested in the decisions we make. We're so thankful for the freedoms we have every day. We cherish those. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming to the State of the Cities. I don't know if this is my third or fourth one now, but should give you some insight to the future and what we've been working on all year. I want to introduce some of our commission. We've got our Vice Mayor, Skip Williams, here. We got Jeremy Hutchinson over here, Tim Tumulty over here, and Joshua Jackson.
Keith Capizzi,
Oh,
Mayor.
and I'm your Mayor, Keith Capizzi. And then we'll have Wes, which is our city manager. You can introduce our staff if you'd like.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. I would like to introduce each of you to the best city staff in Central Florida. So my directors, when I call your name, please stand up so we can recognize you, please. Our HR director, Cindy DePina, please. And our city clerk, Karen Grooms. Finance director with the money, Hannah Juman. And her deputy director, Devin Talley. Please hold your applause until the end. Our IT director, Kevin Perez, is not here. He just had a baby with his wife. So our deputy IT director, Ron Munn, is in the house here. Welcome, Ron. Our police chief, Chris Kewen. Our fire chief, Justin Grimes. Please hold your applause. Our public works and water reclamation director, Brad Calso, pulling double duty. He's here. Our development services director, Dave Dickey, along with his deputy director, Brian Palmer. Our rec services director, Andy Segarra, and recreation supervisor, Kara Potter's here. And our utility manager for stormwater, Morgan Zolke's here as well. And last but not least, my awesome executive assistant, Carrie Lombardo's here. Oh. So that's the staff commission.
Thank you.
Can we clap for the rest of them now?
Yes, sir.
All right, we like to have a good time here. We're not so uptight.
We need to polish the city manager a little more because he said the best city staff in Central Florida. Should have said a little broader than that.
Yeah. Well, we'll work on that, okay?
Don't limit.
Next year.
Small.
We have next year to perfect that one. All right. All right, so this is the state of the city. All right. So, just so you know, this commission is very dedicated to paying down debt, to being very conservative in our budget. I'm really, really excited for the future, for what we got going on. These guys, they really do. They crunch the numbers. They check. They double check. They ask to hold the employees accountable. So, all the stuff that's happening, while I get to, reap the benefits of the good stuff, I also get to be blamed for all the bad stuff too. So I'm excited to reap some of the benefits of the good stuff and take credit for some of it, but I could not do it without the rest of this commission. This commission is really top notch, and we all get along so well, which is nice. If you look at a lot of the other commissions in the county, they do not run this smooth. They do not get along. So this is a real blessing to have you guys. So thank you, Commission, for helping push these agendas through. All right, so When I took office, what I ran for was fiscal responsibility and paying down the city debt. So for me, those are two really big things, and I know the same thing with Jeremy as well, and the other guys on here. And sometimes, staff could get annoyed with us, but we're really trying to look out for the residents' best interest. But they do well, especially Hannah. She's been a real a hawk when it comes to budget too. And then our new city manager has been looking all different ways to make sure that we are financially stable. Cocoa Beach Finance Department was awarded the Government Finance Officers Association. They're awarded for the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award and the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. That was for our audit. Yeah, go ahead.
Some of you will probably know, and I know Janice would know, but we had a previous auditing firm that ran for a decade plus, and we chose as a commission to kind of mix things up and pick a different auditing firm. And a couple of years ago, when that firm came on board, they found a lot of discrepancies that hadn't been uncovered in the past, and that really helped tune up, where we were in the past and where we are in the future. So there's some good things to be said about not staying with the exact same contractor year after year. I mean, these awards are great, but that's just basically the company that did the audit putting the paperwork in and the city putting their 2 cents in to get those awards, which were well deserved. But the bottom line is the auditing and being succinct on every line item on the budget. Right, Jeremy?
Correct.
All right. So just wanted to show you some rates. You see there's our millage rate over here and our debt balance. So just so you know, so the millage rate starts at 2017. And if you look at when, actually I believe it was when Jeremy and I were elected, you can see our millage rate where it plateaus right there. That's when we came in. And then last year was the first year in 9 years that we actually dropped the millage rate. So thank you, Jeremy, for proposing that. And the rest of the commission voted 5-0 to drop that millage rate. So as you can see, with this leadership and with the finance director, we were able to figure that out. And then if you look at our debt balance, you can look from 2014, you can see it was a steady increase. We went all the way up to nearly $44 million in debt. And then when I took office in 2022, that peak is right there. We are dedicated to bringing down the debt. We brought it down. It's all the way down to 30.85 million right now. So it was at 44, just under 44 at peak. So we've been able to bring that down too. So as you can see, we're really working to try to keep your taxes down, to keep your millage rate down. If we can keep debt down, then we can keep your millage rate down. All right, so we've got some community improvements. We've done some downtown stuff here. For Cocoa Beach's downtown area is bustling with activity. We're featuring filled storefronts and renewed commercial investments. We're driving local economic growth. The Dirty Birds, we helped them with some facade grants. There was a few others that had taken advantage of that. And the nice thing about that is it encourages other businesses to fix their properties up as well. It's kind of like a domino effect, which also brings up property value. And when property value goes up, we bring in greater tax revenue for the city so that you can keep your property taxes lower. As you may know or may not know, commercial property tax is capped at 10% raise a year, where homesteaded properties are capped at 3% raise a year. So it's beneficial to have thriving businesses and property values going up for them, because it helps keep our personal taxes lower. Our schools are full. So one thing is, a lot of people were concerned about Cape View closing down. While that is unfortunate, and it's, I remember as a kid, my friends went to Cape View as well. The one good thing about that is the cutoff for Cocoa Beach was, where the Publix is south here, about 2 blocks south of that was the cutoff for Cocoa Beach kids to have to go to the actual Cape View Elementary. So probably half of our kids in Cocoa Beach were not actually going to our Cocoa Beach school, which means our school wasn't full and neither was Cape View. So it was kind of inconvenient for our local residents, because they would have to drive basically 5.5 miles down the road when they can just drive 2 miles down the road to take their kids to school. So while it wasn't the best for them, it will ensure that our school stays open and full, and it is more convenient for our Cocoa Beach residents that did happen. We have strong leadership. The city benefits from efficient management as leadership invests in expanded staffing for maintenance and ensuring community needs are met effectively. So our city manager, Wes, has been looking into, so one of my things that I ran on too was improving roadside maintenance, medians, and parks. And Wes has agreed that he thinks that that's a good thing as well. So he's looking at ways that he can maybe use some employees that are in similar type of work to, when they're slow, to maybe use them help with more maintenance. Because right now we only have 3 maintenance workers for the city, and to maintain this whole city, I mean, I've seen just small resorts that have a staff of 20. So we need more maintenance workers if we want to have this like it is. We're really good at building stuff, but we're not the best at maintaining it. And moving forward, that's one of the things that I really want to focus on, is making sure that when we build something, we maintain it properly and we set funds aside to keep it maintained.
If I could ask Karen, toward the end, before all the applause, of course, could you pull up the new traffic loop that Wes shared for Cape View Elementary? For Roosevelt Elementary? Because for anybody that is listening or is here that lives out on the country club area, you know how bad it can be with traffic trying to get in and out of that school or get by all that school traffic. They have a new traffic loop in design, and hopefully that's going to push a whole bunch of those cars that used to be sitting out on Minuteman into a traffic loop and only exiting, back onto Minuteman. So if we could show that somewhere toward the end, that would be nice to let people know about.
And to add on to that, we are actively looking at trying to figure out how we can add another lane heading west there as well, so that people can, rather than drive on the grass to get around the turn lane, that they can actually drive on a road to get around the turn lane. So in conjunction, we just got to figure out how we can get the money for it, but we are actively trying to figure out a way to ease some of the traffic concerns there. All right, so on our city manager side, some of the accomplishments that they did was that centennial celebration, which was amazing. And Main Street had a big part in that as well. You did an amazing job setting that up, so thank you, Kenny. It was really good. And then also with our city staff, so everybody worked so hard and it turned out amazing. So thank you for that. The drone show, and was it Carrie? Were you the one that set that up? So Carrie set up the drone show, which was nice. we were trying to figure out something that would be cutting edge, something that would be newsworthy, that would kind of get us free publicity, but also something that would be, less harsh on some of the people that are worried about maybe their dogs getting scared or veterans getting scared with loud noises. That's not to say that we won't have, fireworks in the future. I love fireworks. Honestly, I'd love to have them both. It all depends on budget. Then we had the air show, and we opened our city hall, so that's pretty exciting. On development services, who's in charge of development services? Dave, so this is under Dave's purview here. So we've got Dirty Birds that had opened up. That just transformed downtown. The Surf, Wave Haven, and Destination Downtown. So those were all different developments that we've had this year. Before 2022, we really haven't had any significant growth in Cocoa Beach as far as commercial growth. And that's hard on the city because that means we're not getting extra tax revenue. When you're stagnant, that means that you're going to have to raise millage rates if you're not getting it from somewhere. So some of these other things, for example, the Westin, a lot of people like to poo-poo on the Westin, but you need to understand that that was a 502 unit complex in the beginning, and it used to be thriving, and then at the end it dwindled, and that value of that property was, I think they sold it for $12 million, something like that. We're talking now a $500 million complex. I mean, you're talking about a tax revenue that's going to help with the city a lot. We have a proposal right now. I think it passed. What was it? The House. So now it's got to go to Senate. But for the property tax, what they're proposing is doing away with property taxes for homesteaded properties at a $100,000 exemption added every single year until your homesteaded property tax goes away. When something like that happens, we're talking about a loss of close to $19 million in revenue for the city, and for us to operate, it's going to be really hard for us to do, and we are looking ahead, and we're thinking about stuff like that, and we're trying to figure out ways that we can cut now so that it's not such a burden when it comes into full effect. It is stepped, so we'll have some time to try to figure it out, but if that passes, we're going to need some of these development projects like the Drift. It's a 221 unit apartment complex on 520, which is that dirt lot that hasn't been developed for a while. When I was younger, that was a Gatsby's was it Surf Emporium or Gatsby's Sports Emporium, right? Gatsby's Sports Emporium. So it was something. It's not like we're building something that wasn't there. It's a renewing of that project, and that project's probably going to be close to $60 million, which is going to be a significant tax revenue for the city. So all that kind of stuff, because it can't be homesteaded, is going to be something that adds to our tax base that is much needed. As much as I don't want to overbuild, and I don't want more people here and more development, we have to think about smart development. So something like this is smart development. We're talking about residents that are living here, that are contributing to the community, that are keeping the businesses afloat and open, that are keeping our schools open with children. So that was a good project, and it's going to help pay the tax revenue that we're going to miss if this proposal comes in. Public Works. So we've got the Shepherd Park, the small pavilion was replaced. We've got the dune crossovers on Osceola Lane and Fisher Park, and Sidney Fisher Park Playground and electric sign. All right, on leisure services, you got Andy over there. So what do we do here? We updated shade structure at the Aquatic Center. We did irrigation system for 18 holes at Cocoa Beach Golf Course. That was a big one. For that, you know, we have a really nice amenity, but if we don't maintain it, we're not going to be able to charge what we need to charge so that it's profitable. So it's really important that, again, that comes back to maintaining our facilities. So that was, while it was a big, you know, a big nut to swallow, we were able to kind of preserve one of our amenities. New bleachers at the recreation center. And now we've got city clerk. So she is here. She's been increasing our community engagement and improving the communication through expanded use of social media platforms, which is great. You know, that was one of the things too when I came on, and I was encouraging that we be more engaged with the residents. I think the old way of thinking was, well, they could just go on CBNN or, you know, they can get it from somewhere. But the fact of the matter is that the average citizen is on Facebook. Regardless, they're going to get their news from somewhere, and it might not always be accurate. But if we can kind of, my thought has always been, if we can kind of put out some factual information when somebody puts out something wrong, or put a link to give them some accurate information, it's going to keep the residents a lot happier and less disgruntled. Because really there's a ton of poor information on Facebook, and it's important that we can point them to a good platform to get good information. We did upgrades to the commission room, including new technology enhancements to improve accessibility, transparency, and the overall meeting experience. And we closed the year with a 417 public records request, 417 public records requests processed. That's a lot, 417.
Yeah, we're already at 100 for the year.
Wow.
Year now. I'm at 108 as of today.
Wow. So we will exceed that by next year, probably. And it's always, you know, honestly, it's always more when it comes to the election year. All right, human resources. So we developed a succession planning process. Florida Municipal Insurance Trust, FMIT. We did general liability and loss experience. Improved, and overall rate is down 11%. So 11% of an overall loss. That's good. And there you are. So she's been trying to make sure that we are safer, and when we're safer, then it saves you guys money. Our auto liability is, so our loss experience improved, and our overall rate is down 5%. Our auto PD, we lost experience improved, and our property rates dropped by 4%. All right, our city departments, water reclamation. So in 2025, we had our gravity sewer pipe repair for A1A crossover pipe replacement. We had 4 locations throughout the city. We replaced old cast iron pipes with PVC. We smoke testing of the sewer system. That's to make sure that we don't have any leaks, so when it does rain, we're not filling up our stormwater more than what it needs to be, which when it rains a lot, it can overflow. We have and correct me if I'm wrong, Brad, but we've got basically our big holding tanks are open air, so if it rains a lot, those get filled up when it rains as well. And then if we have drains in our manhole covers, that just adds to filling it up. And that's why sometimes we tell you don't flush your toilets as much. But that's very rare. That's usually only on like monsoons and stuff like that. We had 221 defects observed, and we had 171 defects repaired to date. Our manhole inspections, we had, could somebody grab me a water? By chance. Thank you. Let's see, 1,162 manholes inspected, we had 66 manholes left to inspect, and we have buried underwater sidewalk asphalt vegetation. I don't know what that means.
They're buried under it. They're buried.
Thank you.
Hard time getting to them.
Do you want to give me that too?
No.
Oh. All right, our biosolids dewatering upgrade. And we replaced equipment from the 1980s, and we achieved drier cake solids to reduce landfill costs. I think that is when when they're straining our wastewater, basically we put it out somewhere and we dry it out so that we get less, so there's less mass when we do take it to the landfill, which saves us money. Is that correct? Okay. All right. So our city departments, we've got our accomplishments for our police department, our telecommunications, P25 compliance, full P25 implementation completed for compliance to ensure compatibility with modern encrypted digital standards. I don't know what I just said there, but that's what.
Can
Yeah, go ahead.
City manager, would you like to add anything about the new developments, or are they not solidified yet?
Not solidified yet.
Okay.
They're in the works. Yep.
All right. Our law enforcement field training application, LEFTA. We secured software platform designed for law enforcement to manage training performance, and documentation enables tracking trainee performance, automate daily observation reports, and monitor training compliance. And we have a volunteer chaplain program, which provides personal, emotional, and spiritual support to all members of the department. The chaplain program seeks to ensure that confidential counseling and encouragement is provided proactively and in times of crisis response to continually improve work environment and morale. All right, so our fire department. Our accomplishments in 2025, we pushed in our 2025 engine and our new squad vehicle, which I believe is like that big truck, right? It's like an off-road truck. It's pretty impressive looking. I wouldn't mind having one. Well, I guess I do, since we're all residents and we own it. We maintained ISO 2 ratings, our USLA certified aquatic rapid response team, ARRT, and we have the only flood and swift water rescue certified team in Brevard County. And we also train the other divisions, WRT. We do training and professional development we had 3 firefighters that completed the paramedic school. They all graduated at the top of their class. We had 1 valedictorian and we completed over 12,000 hours of training last year in fire, EMS, rescue, and safety training. And they all exceeded the required 279 hours. We had 30 water rescues. We had 2 confirmed code saves. And we had 1 victim and 2 cats that were saved from a structure fire.
Mayor, I understand, I got a text from Wyatt Wernath with Ground Zero saying that this is the first calendar year that we haven't had a drowning in Cocoa Beach, and hopefully that's accurate.
Wow.
But that's a good thing.
That would be awesome. I know we maybe had a couple last year, right? But I'm glad to hear that this calendar year we have not, so that's great. All right, so here we keep going. We got fire marshal inspectors. They completed 200 and 2,451 fire inspections in 2025, up from 982 in 2024. There was over 43,083,761 square feet of buildings. Wow. That were inspected in 2025. We added a new fire inspector to complete the annual inspections of the short-term rentals, and there were 945 re-inspections, including short-term rentals. We had a community paramedic program with 57 plus home and hospital visits, with 90 plus phone consultations, 77 plus home companionship visits. We have 32 pieces of medical equipment distributed. We did transportation to medical appointments provided through Volunteers in Motion. And we have community outreach, which hosted a senior resource fair and a veterans resource roundtable. All right, our future initiatives, enhancing our community. Upcoming projects include beautifying our medians, our roadsides, looking to widen, I'd love to widen our sidewalks just for better e-bike safety, implementing e-bike safety measures to improve accessibility and safety for all residents. Another thing I'm trying to figure out too is how we can get FDOT to widen our bike lanes on the side of A1A. That's just something there is, if I can keep the e-bikes on the side of the road, but still be safe, because I don't think it's safe for them right now on a 3-foot wide bike lane. Something we're actively we're always trying to do just to keep the residents safe. More future initiatives. So we've got boat ramp repairs. We've got planned repairs and upgrades to all city boat ramps, including Holiday Lane boat ramp, which was completed. Bicentennial Park and Brad, is that open yet? Or we're still waiting?
I can report tonight that it will be open first thing in the morning.
Oh, great.
Now, just for the boat ramp, restroom still closed, all that stuff, but the boat ramp, we have a certificate of occupancy, right, Brad? Temporary. So it's a temporary,
Okay.
but just so we can get the ramp open for boaters.
Thank you.
I was gonna put that out too.
What's the issue with the bathrooms?
It's not completed yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just not completed yet. All the plumbing issues it's just not ready, but we do have the boat ramp ready for use.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So, and then also we've got Ramp Road Park, which is still in process. All these will help enhance safety, accessibility, and overall functionality for residents and visitors. If any of you guys know, the 520 ramp was, honestly, is completely useless. You couldn't even launch a jet ski before we started this. So that's going to be a huge one for the boaters in the area. Did you want to say something, Skip?
Yeah, I just wanted to say it, Ramp Road, that retention pond there, when we dug that out years ago, that we got a lot of antique bottles out of there. It used to be the dump in Cocoa Beach, and when they started digging up on the north side of there, the city manager informed us as a commission that they dug up what could have been a bomb. Turned out to be a practice bomb back World War II era, when, Patrick was there and we were basically just fledgling getting into the space program. So I'm trying to get it, Patrick took it, and I'm trying to get it back so we can auction it off and make a bunch of money to help the budget.
I think it'd be kind of cool to have it displayed in the.
We put it on a pedestal out here in front of the city hall.
I don't think it was
Part
that.
of our history.
I don't think it was that big. All right, we did the lift station upgrades. We're planning improvements to the city lift stations. Will enhance the system's reliability, will increase capacity, and support the long-term performance of our wastewater infrastructure for residents and visitors. I'll just add too, a lot of these times, people when we have some of these projects that are newer, that are coming on, a lot of the concern is, like I said, extra traffic, extra use of infrastructure, water, pipelines, stuff like that. And the crux of it really is, for a lot of this stuff, there was pretty much Cocoa Beach has always been, I mean, it's been pretty much built out. And the lots that we have that are not improved, most of them were built out at one point, and now they've been vacant for so long that people forgot that there was buildings on them. So, another thing there is, when we approve some of these projects, we're not really increasing density from what it was. The great thing is we have a commission, I think, that's really dedicated to ensuring that we hold fast to our density and our height restrictions. At least I think the majority of us are really dedicated to that, because we know that that's what you guys want. I never plan on voting to raise height or density beyond what our current stuff allows. So I think that's important for you guys to know, that we hear you, and we want to make sure that your voice is transferring to our decisions. Let's see. We did a vulnerability study. We continued efforts to reduce flooding through updates and improvements identified in our stormwater plan. The vulnerability assessment will identify areas under city jurisdiction that are vulnerable to the future impacts of the SLR, storm surge, and coastal flooding. So what's next for Cocoa Beach? Our vision for a thriving and connected community. Any questions or anybody have any questions or any comments from the commission that you'd like to add to anything I said, or city manager or any staff?
You want to throw up that slide? Not to close questioning or public comments, just to let people see this. So if you look at the top of your screen, that's all the cars stacked up there trying to come into Roosevelt. And usually they turn in right in front of the school, loop through, and head out. If you look on the left side of the picture, they're going to have 2 lanes for traffic, all those people coming to pick up or drop off, to be able to stack up in that whole, it's pretty large area. It'll hold a lot of vehicles. So then the only thing that will be an issue is, they're going to be onesie twosies going in front of the school picking up their kids. So when they're funneling back out on the Minuteman, it shouldn't be, a big deal. And that's not the lane that's always been clogged. So that's in the design phase, and hopefully coming soon to a theater near you.
And to piggyback on that, I sent Wes a note of, is there something we can do? Because in the morning, they're coming at various times, right? They're collecting there, but in the afternoon, everyone's leaving at the same time, so it's equally as bad going eastbound. So I just suggested to Wes, is there something we can do at Brevard, Minuteman, and Brevard and A1A to temporarily relieve those lights? I think that's equally as bad.
When they're leaving, they're going one at a time.
I'm saying when they goes eastbound on Minuteman.
Oh,
We'll get it solved.
That's the high school kids, because nobody's releasing them one at a time. They're all.
The point is, we're gonna deal with the double the student capacity. We're gonna come up with solutions.
Yeah. The school day ends different times for grade school and high school.
Right. But when high school gets out, that parking lot's a free-for-all, and everybody.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. I've been talking about this for a couple of years, about putting a loop in there, because I don't want to put another lane on Minuteman. I think just be throwing money away doing that. But this loop should take care of that. I've always thought that. There are a couple other options too we could use, but this is certainly a good plan. It's not going to go into effect, I couldn't imagine, until the beginning of next school year at the earliest.
That's what Dr. Rendell's talking about, and we are very, very thankful to the school board for helping us out with this as well. So
Thanks.
Question out here.
You may have just answered my question. When do we think
this would be in place at, did you say?
Probably beginning of next school year.
Okay.
There's no way they're going to implement it in the middle of the school.
Oh, no,
you know.
but when you're doubling the population of students, at the start of the next school year?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I just wanted to point out that on the leisure services side, you missed the $1.2 million tennis court renovation that was accomplished last year as well.
Thank you.
At no cost to the city.
And it didn't cost anybody.
Yep.
Yeah, the USTA gave us a grant to renew the tennis courts, and, it's nice to be able to have partners that want to work with us so that we can provide the residents with nice amenities. Good, Janice.
Push the button. Go ahead. It's on. Good evening, everybody. I'm Janice Scott at Cocoa Beach. I'm a former mayor, and there's an election coming up this fall, and I can only count on my paper about 8 women in the last 45 years who ran for office here. And so nothing for women's lib or anything, but I just hope that somebody will step up to the plate who will hold down the height and density. And I was one of the people that fought really hard for lowering the building height and the density here. So if you've moved here in the last 20 years and you think it was always like this, and it was destined to be that way, no, it wouldn't have been that way. And I just have to say, Mayor, I know you didn't have anything to do with this, but directly, but whenever, I've had so many people ask me, is that Westin Hotel's been built? What in the world is going on there? And I just have to tell them, it was a hard fight to lower the building height here. 6 big lawsuits. We cut the density and the building height 45 to 55%. And it's very disappointing that they allowed that density of 502 rooms to be grandfathered there, because it's ruined the whole view of Cocoa Beach as being a low-density beach community. So if you plan to run for office here in the fall, that you're all going to the Citizens Academy, I hope that you will be very mindful that that was a big fight by the residents, and anybody who comes after this, I hope they'll fight for that too. The other thing, because the traffic's going to be horrendous, you can't, put lipstick on that. I'll tell you how long I've been here. You mentioned the Gatsby's Emporium, Sports Emporium. Well, before that, it was the Shark Lounge and a 2-story motel. It was the old Sin City.
What about the Carnival Club?
And the Shark Lounge, of course, we can't forget that, because anybody who wasn't old enough to drink tried to get over there one way or another. And last, I'm a big fighter for keeping the taxes down. If you don't need it, don't spend it. And I worked on a project last year with the county property appraiser. She will confirm that these figures are correct. That 54% of the properties here in the county have religious and 501c3 exemptions, which leaves 46% of us, and we're municipal residents, are county taxpayers too. 46% of us are carrying the tax load for the county. So I hope they'll cover that more in your Citizens Academy, and I'm glad that you all are here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice.
Nobody remembers Carnival Club?
Give us a history lesson on that one.
We have a comment in the audience.
Yeah, go ahead, Caroline.
Hey, I had a question. Since it's the state of the city, what for the next fiscal year, it'll be budget season soon, for the next fiscal year, what are your top priorities of capital projects? And with, I guess a lot of you have in mind to roll back the millage rate even more, how do you plan to accomplish those with the rollback?
Sure. Do you want to talk about anything as far as trying to consolidate some police stuff, or we?
No, right now. I'll just say that on the public safety side, Commissioner, we have some plans in place that I'll announce soon for some ease of payments, I guess. But that's all I can speak to you right now on that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, maintenance is key. You made the point of we're good at building things. I'm not sure we're good at it, but we build things, we just don't maintain them. So that's a key for me. That's less of the capital, but I think we've done a good job in the last 3 or 4 years, at least getting a 5-year plan laid out. And what we focus on traditionally is just 1 year ahead, but if you look at the spend plan, it drops way off. So to balance that rollback, we can push some projects way what year it actually is accomplished in. And historically, we've only ever looked 1 year out, so it's always raise more money, raise more money. So I think it's, with your property values going up 10%, there's no need to raise millage. We're getting 10% more tax base than we did last year. So I think it's going to be relatively feasible without changing any city services and certainly impacting the capital investments.
With
Well,
respect,
if I can say, rollback doesn't, it actually negates that. So it's the same dollar amount if you do rollback. So if we generated $15 million in ad valorem tax last year and we do a rollback, we will generate $15 million next year. That's how that works. Even though there's inflation and everything else, not really sure how you pay for all that without any other money. We can raise prices of parking and other things, but rolling back, if we roll back every year, in 20 years, we'll be making $15 million, which dollar cost is a lot less than that, right?
And just so you guys know too, so this is the only time that we really get to speak. So we're not allowed to talk to each other outside of this. So what you're seeing and what you're hearing from us is basically stuff that we want to get off our chest that we can't tell them otherwise. So sometimes you'll see us where we actually have to have some frank conversations. And I'm happy that we do it respectfully. But I mean, the fact of the matter is we all have an idea of how we want to do stuff, and we don't necessarily always agree. But I think at the end, we just want to make sure that we have the residents' interest in mind, and also that we're respectful to each other when we do go through this stuff. One of the other capital projects is we've been looking at the North Fire Station, and me and Wes and Brad, we went up to Tallahassee to try to help secure some funding for that. We were anticipating it could cost up to $5 million. Personally, I think that's a lot of money and maybe overkill, but that was what we tried to propose so that we can get money for it. Currently, we're still going through the process, but they're only wanting to match us with a 50% grant if it does go through, which, again, that makes it hard. It makes it hard to try to come up with that extra $2.5 million to try to do a project like this. While we say, oh, well, that's a good deal, we're getting 50% off, then again, we're raising debt, which means that it makes it harder for us to reduce millage. So we have to think about all that. And also, we're also looking for some gravity sewer line repairs of $1 million, where they're trying to match 50% of that as well. When we do this kind of stuff, again, it helps save maintenance costs, which in turn keeps taxes down as well. Any other questions? Yeah.
Where's the money going to come from? I mean, it's not, you take property taxes out, what's the big scheme of things that they expect you at this level to come up with money?
Well, so that's the thing that has all of us concerned, is where is it going to come from, the extra income? Is it going to come, are they going to add an extra 2% to our sales tax? Are they going to, what are we going to do? And the problem with Cocoa Beach compared to the rest of the county is Cocoa Beach is built out, and the rest of the county has room to expand. So, and when you say expand, you're going to get your tax revenue from business or from non-homesteaded properties. So while we would benefit, honestly, from, I hate to say it, Airbnbs, because they're going to be paying greater taxes, and there's a a 10% cap, meaning they can go up 10% more on the rates every year. You know, the residents have to deal with the fact that we live in a resort, you know, friendly town. It's the balance, right? The balance of how do we live in a resort friendly town and try to be residential people. The only way that we can survive is if we have some smart growth where we're getting some greater tax revenue from some of these bigger projects. Like I said, you know, the West End is a big project, and it's a little off-putting. I mean, to be honest, with the way it looks, but that's one thing that's going to help save us from this that's coming in place. I don't like it, but sometimes it's like you can't squeeze blood from a beet. You gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
Yeah, I'll just say that the last look I had at these the House and Senate bills, as far as the homestead property taxes phasing out over basically 3 years for pretty much everybody. If you're currently homesteaded, you're already at a lower bracket, so it would essentially go to zero. But if you read between the lines, and you know, basically it's in there in the fine print, is you can't cut emergency services. You can't cut fire, you can't cut police, you can't cut paramedics. You know, that all is off the table as far as any kind of cuts. So currently the city's budget spends 37% of their money on public safety. Well, if you take away the property taxes on homesteaded properties, you end up with 54% of our budget is just for public safety. And the reason our public safety budget is so much higher per capita than any other beachside community is we're the ones that have all these visitors coming to the city that can swell our city from, let's say, 10, 11,000 residents to 30,000 on any given weekend. And we owe it to our residents to have a safe city, and if we have to have that much staff so that if something happens that has to do with all those other people, we still have to keep the roads open, we still gotta, you know, get people efficiently back and forth to the hospital and all that. So that piece won't be touched, okay? And whether it's the percentage that they say you can't ever go below, or whether it's a dollar value, and if it's a dollar value, then we may be able to find some efficiencies in the future where we can combine some positions and such so that we can keep the salary increases to the living wage and above. And I've always said our public safety people all deserve to have a wage that's higher than the average in the county, just basically for retention of employees. So if we can keep our salary overall at a certain pace, it's still going to be 54 or 57% of our budget, but we can keep it as a dollar amount. So I didn't mean to get so far into the weeds on that, but it is an important factor, and that means we're going to have to dig deeper in other areas to be able to sustain ourselves without increasing the millage rate, which probably will happen eventually. But the thing is, we are one of two cities in the county, beachside communities, that actually would turn out to be in the black, even with having to raise our millage rate, you know, which would not be on the homesteaded properties, it'd be on the businesses. we could still be in the black without hitting the statewide cap on the maximum amount of, ad valorem property taxes. And there's quite a few cities, beachside communities that are south of us that are going to be completely broken because they're going to hit that cap and they're not going to have a out. So fortunately, the city's pretty good position, but we're going to have to, work through all the nuances if this passes to be able to make things work. And it's going to take not only the commission that'll be up here, it won't be me. I'm terming out. It won't only be the commission that's up here, it'll be the city manager and all the city staff and all the residents and businesses working together to try to make this work and still have a healthy, viable city.
I want to weigh in. Skip, you mentioned terming out. One, thank you guys for being here, right? The Citizens Academy is phenomenal. It's in fact where Keith and I met, and then the following year Jeremy went through there. So it's produced a lot of the commission leadership, and I think every one of the commissioners has. He was there before. Started the program, but it's one kudos to our police department, to the city for a phenomenal program that when I took it turned me into a huge fan of our city government, right? I already loved the city. We moved here. We were delighted with it. But I was astounded at what all the city accomplishes. A big part of that is residents stepping up. Residents, every one of us are residents. A number of us moved into this type of role by stepping up and joining boards. So there's a number of boards that you guys have hopefully at this point already heard about or may be hearing about yet. The opportunity when the elections happen, any new commissioners will be placing board members. So I would encourage you, be looking at the city boards. They're volunteer positions, but they carry significant weight and contribution to the city. And they're a really great way to understand what this type of role and burden is and whether one of these seats up here is right for you, right? And as former mayor mentioned, there's going to be seats open, right? There's seats that you need to be thinking about because this is a community that is led by the residents. And so all of us are up here for that. I think I would just end with that, to encourage you to think about what it looks like to be up here, what it looks like to step up and lead. It's the residents who see where the pain points are, but it's also, as you can see, residents who are going to solve the problems. So anyway, thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, thank you. So the same thing with me, like when we met, I went to Citizens Academy. I was one of those Facebook warriors that was, I don't understand why the city's doing this and why does it look like that and this and that and I don't want any growth period and all this stuff. And when I got elected and I saw the backside, so you guys are seeing a piece of it. When you get elected and you're behind the scenes and you see the backside and you see the numbers and you see all this stuff, it changes your perspective on a lot of stuff as well. So I honestly, I had to humble myself and tell the previous mayor, I'm really sorry that I made your job harder. I didn't realize what you knew. And now that I know, I'm kind of embarrassed for my behavior, towards you. And obviously he thanked me for saying that, but it's a lot different seeing it from the outside than being on the inside. So, just if you talk to people and you know people, just realize we're trying to do the best we can. And we have information sometimes that you don't quite, you can always do public records requests and get the information, but you just don't realize it until you're in the mix. So, understand that these guys, they really do care about you and they're working hard. And so does our staff. Anybody else?
So, Josh, I had the same situation. I went through Citizens Academy with my wife Courtney in 2012. so like 14 years ago. And we did it for, you all have a lot of reasons why you're here. Some of you want to run for office, some of you are just, maybe you're retired and you want to get involved in the city, and so you've gone to Citizens Academy to learn about the city, or you just asked. Well, we went, Courtney and I went, because there was construction going on Fairway Drive behind our house on the golf course. They were digging a pond and we didn't know why, so we started coming to city commission meetings and talking to the commissioners and talking to the city manager, and kind of made sense what they were doing, but that brought me into this room, of course, the old building. And went to a couple meetings, and then I found out, hey, there's a Citizens Academy, you can learn about all the different departments. So we joined it, and it was pretty awesome. Had the same experience as you guys did of, it was just amazing what this city does with a water treatment facility, golf course, a full fire department, a full police department, not for a city of 11,000 people, but for a city of like 50+ thousand people, really. And everybody was happy. All the employees were just smiling and more than happy to show you what they're doing, and taking a little tour of the building or wherever they were. I'm sure they did the same for you guys. I had no intention of running for office back then, and it was just brought to my attention to consider it. And of course I said no, like 5 or 6 times, and then finally Courtney said, well, why not? We're going to be here for the rest of our lives. Now is the time to get involved, and we did. And that's the same for you guys. You're here. You're probably not going anywhere. I mean, if you join Citizens Academy, you're here in Cocoa Beach for a reason, right? And join that for a reason. So, if you're thinking about getting more involved, it's not just the boards, but there's lots of other volunteer opportunities with Main Street and Kiwanis, the Elks, Rotary, a lot of different places you can go for to volunteer and get involved with the city. They do a lot of really good things for not just the city, but also the students and the schools. So just reach out to those folks as well.
Thank you. We had another comment here.
I don't want to not have you stop telling us how good we are, but but I'd like to bring it back to the thing that's going on in Tallahassee, and is all of the little towns and all of the counties are having the same difficulty we're facing if they do something about the property tax. Is there a group that is meeting and going up there, and the officials, I mean, not the residents, but I mean, do you have an official group that maybe that you've become acquainted with other county people or other town people that are petitioning them and talking to them and telling them what a hardship it is, even though they aren't listening, I know. But is
Yes.
something going on, and what can we do too
Sure.
as citizens?
Skip wants to grab this one.
So, state of Florida. Where is the most expensive properties in the state of Florida? Oceanfront and some lakefront, maybe some of the McMansions in Orlando and some of the other cities. Where does all the revenue come in? Big cities, Orlando, Sarasota, Tampa, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Pensacola. But there's a lot of, there's a certain amount of representatives in the state legislature from different districts, and Senate the same way, the House of Representatives and the Senate. And they represent people that are in basically, can I call it, the heartland of Florida, who aren't just going off the rails with growth and bringing in a whole bunch of money. But they see us as basically the cash cow. So they've got as much a voice in the state of Florida Congress and politics as the communities such as us and the other oceanfront and, high rent communities. So basically, they want a share of the wealth from us. And one way of doing it is to get rid of their property taxes to make things more affordable for people. And I hate to, I'm kind of a stereotyper, but I mentioned places like, Yeehaw Junction and Holapaw, they're not big bustling towns, even though they actually have grown a little bit. But, they don't have a bunch of money. And, we got towns in Florida that have one police officer on each shift, and they share a car. So how safe would you feel in that community? So it's kind of, we can lobby all we want, and I've written my letters to the people I know in the state house and the state senate to say that this isn't going to be good for us. But I do know that, as I said before, that we can actually put our head above water in Cocoa Beach. But if this goes down, it's going to be based on the number of House and Senate people that vote for it, and a lot of the ones that are going to vote for it are going to be from the less, quote, affluent, bringing in more money, cities and municipalities and counties in the state of Florida.
I think what Commissioner Williams is saying is very relevant. To your question, Space Coast League of Cities, the commission is engaged in Space Coast League of Cities, where across Brevard, the cities and the municipalities combine and have a joint voice. So that's one area. And being involved, being engaged, businesses can be involved and engaged with Space Coast League of Cities as well. And then we do have, as a city, residents, we have a representative who goes up there for us. Jason Steele is the city lobbyist. And so absolutely, your voice can be shared with him, and he represents us to the legislature there in Tallahassee. We have Congressman Herodopoulos and Debbie Mayfield. They are absolutely open to hearing and receiving your inputs. We as a city government are involved with them, but absolutely as residents, as constituents, very important to hear from your residents. It a lot of times can feel like you've got politicians who are off, they don't care. They honestly, from this seat, from this side of things, and I know this is true for every one of the folks sitting up here, when residents call, when they contact you, when they share their stories, that's the stuff you're looking for. That's the stuff you want to know about. And I've talked with folks from Herodopoulos' office. They really do want to hear from you. And I know that it doesn't sound like it when you watch the evening news and hear the politics, but from this side of things, I can tell you it does matter.
Yeah, that was a good answer. That's exactly what I was thinking was the Space Coast League of Cities, which we attend every month. And we actually just got back from Tallahassee last month, where the League of Cities had met with us as well, and they were lobbying for trying to make sure that we had our tax funding needed. From what he was saying too, the differences with these smaller communities that's going to be hit much harder compared to us is because we have a lot of commercial buildings. The hotels, like I said, we have a lot of Airbnbs, we have a lot of restaurants. So we will still be receiving quite a bit of tax money from that. But a lot of these smaller places that are in the middle of the state are mostly just residential. And if they do have a restaurant or something like that, it's usually just a little mom and pop, breakfast or dinner place. So they are going to get hit hard. But luckily we have a diverse population here that helps even out our loss in that tax, if we lose that tax. It's because I've been there and we've been talking to different lobbyists and stuff like that, and something is going to happen. It's just, how is it going to get rolled out, and when will it take place? It's absolutely, something is going to happen. We just have to see what happens.
Not a coin flip anymore.
Yeah, and then I was going to actually mention, now that we're here, I don't want to forget to talk to you, but this is something I just today I was just asked to meet with Mike Herodopoulos with Wes, and we'll have to see if our on the 11th at 1:30. But so that's something that we do too. City manager and I, is we meet with our our representatives and our senators, and I try to make sure that we can maintain a good relationship so that they understand where we're coming from and they take it to heart. You usually want to take care of your friends. You have a closer relationship, so I want to always try to make sure that we can build good relationships with our representatives.
I just want to go back to the whole question about the rollback tax rate. I've been following the development for 5, 6, 7 years, and the West End and all the projects that were coming online. And the promise was, at the end of the tunnel, we're going to see all this tax revenue. And we kind of get caught in a little bit of a bind, because a lot of these didn't come online anywhere near as quickly as we thought they would. So, I've watched the budget process over the past few years, and maintenance has been deferred, road maintenance and all these other items have been deferred. So what I understand, if we go to a rollback rate, we go back to revenue flat. So we limit our revenue to what we had last year, regardless of how many new sources of revenue come online. And I just wonder where the logic is in that, where we've been counting on this for the last 5, 6, 7 years. And okay, finally we can maybe accelerate our road maintenance program. Maybe we can spend more in public safety and ease off a little bit, but it just seems to me that talking about rolling us back to revenue neutral in a time of inflation doesn't make sense.
I'm going to let Jeremy take this one because I see he wants to. This is
question.
Jeremy's baby, and he's very eager.
Great point. I'm probably the one that is in favor of the legislation passing, because I think there's a cost side of it that we can challenge as well. If you look at our budget, we've far outpaced inflation, so we're far exceeding what the cost of doing business is. But I think on the rollback rate last year, I think it was a delta of $100,000. So basically, if we challenged our $50 million budget another $100,000, we would have rollback. So it's not as big a mountain as I think the perception is. But I think you'll find this year we're going to have a substantially better budgeting process. So I hope you'll enroll that. Hannah's already rolled out worksheets she's given to each one of those commissioners, so we give her input. So I think the first workshop will be night and day better, more productive than it has been in the last 4 years that I've been a commissioner. So hopefully we'll get that ironed out. It'll be, and I'm not opposed to raising taxes or keeping it, not hitting rollback, but I just want to have transparency so you guys know where the money's going. And I think that's what's been lacking for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I want to thank Commissioner Hutcherson. And I think every commissioner here is serious about handling the city's funding. But Commissioner Hutcherson, you have sharpened the pencil and you've dove in a way I've not seen anybody, but it's a skill you bring to the table, and I think that's excellent. I'd also like to highlight our fearless financial leader. She has gone to work since getting here in a way that she is renovating and reinvigorating the budget process. As the commissioner has mentioned, she is the right person at the helm for this time. And that's a fantastic thing. A couple hopeful notes, right? The city manager taking some very, very interesting takes on new opportunities. There's a lot of money that moves through this city, but it moves, through the city. Tapping into those streams of money is a brilliant opportunity, right? And there's some ways that we can look at that, but there's also found opportunities where the residents, and I think we've talked about them in a few previous meetings, where residents are paying for, or the city out of our coffers are paying what we do not owe, right? We're paying other folks' bill. And so as we really get into the different departments and understand where we may be paying for the repair of infrastructure that is serving another city or one of the base infrastructures, those kinds of things are ways we can absolutely lower the amount that the city should and has to be spending by making sure that others are paying their fair share. So I want to thank you, City Manager, and the staff for the looks that we're taking at new ways to innovate revenue sources, as well as scrubbing the ones that we've got so that residents aren't paying for what we should not be owing.
Mr. Anderson, I was going to be less pontificating in my response to you.
Really?
You meant than me.
I know, it's unlike me. But I would just say, we just started the budget cycle a month and a half ago, and there'll be churn as we go through the budget cycle. There'll be public meetings, and then we'll have the first call on the millage rate and the second call and then the final. So a lot will be assessed and looked at between now and when we determine the final millage rate.
Yeah, let me real quick before you get on there. All of it, honestly, it's a team effort, honestly. Our staff doing what they can to make sure that they're running lean, and our city manager to make sure that our staff is running lean. A city manager can really make or break the way a city runs, whether it's efficient or not, or whatever. And speaking with Wes, I'm honestly, I always go into everything with a little bit of skepticism. But the more I talk with him, the more we meet, the more we brainstorm. I'm 110% behind him. I think we are in excellent hands. I think you guys should understand that. I am so hopeful that we are going to meet the mark on whatever we need to do. The millage rate rollback is an endeavor. That's something that we want to shoot for. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if we don't have that goal in mind, we have nothing to shoot for. So I don't think that any of us are dead set on, it has to happen. But we want to be responsible with your money. And if we just say that, hey, there's no limit, we're going to raise the millage rate to whatever it can go to, then our staff has nothing to shoot for to try to be better. You're always going to spend what you have available if you can. There's just no. You have to try to endeavor to do better. So that's all where we're at with this, and I think as a team effort, we all understand that, and we don't want to make it harder for our residents, but we don't want to make it harder for our staff either, and we don't want to make it harder on anybody. Everything we do is carefully thought through, and it's not like we just come up here and just willy-nilly say, hey, we want to strip them of their funding. It's not how it happens. There's a lot of thought, and like I said, I used to come in with my fist pounding, and this is, why can't you raise the millage rate or lower the millage rate before? And I came in, I wanted to lower the millage rate. As you can see, the 2 years straight, I voted to keep the millage rate the same. So it wasn't my thinking without having the information, it just wasn't feasible to do that. So this might be feasible, and we're gonna endeavor to save the residents money. Go ahead, Janice.
You mind if I stand up? Okay, so going back to the rollback rate and everything, who do we serve? The voters of Cocoa Beach, right? So when you collect the sales tax here and it goes off to Tallahassee, comes back to us based on our permanent population. So that's why all the metropolitan areas get the greater share. We get the wear and tear on our infrastructure, so on and so forth. But the factor that I always find, and I don't know how to say this nicely or to get everybody, there's no way to sugarcoat it, but the people that live here and make their lives here, their purchases, their investment, when they go to the store, not only are they paying right now, the way things are, the ad valorem taxes on their property, but everything else goes up. Gas has gone up, groceries have gone up, but the things you can't avoid when you go to the store are the sales tax. And the school's putting a tax back on the ballot in November. The Indian River Lagoons wanting their tax on there too. Everybody wants a piece of the action. So what happens in Tallahassee in the next 2 months is going to be really important, because for 3.9 square miles of upland here, people, we have more police and fire than any other community in the state of Florida this size. And that's because of tourism. And there was a study, I know it doesn't get dusted off enough, it was done here between the hoteliers and the city about 25 years ago, that showed, and because we had this argument all the time, oh no, tourism's great, it's doing all these things. Well, it is to a point, but the residents are carrying that burden. So I just want everybody to think about that again, because you won't know until July, August, who else is adding a share, 1%, a 5% onto your sales tax.
Thank you, Janice. And one more thing on top of what we were talking about, how we're going to pay for stuff, or how we want to try to get the millage rate down, is we are also actively, with Wes, we're looking for more grants for roads funding and sidewalk funding and infrastructure funding. So we've got some stuff in the mix, hopefully, where we might actually get some real money towards road repair and stuff like that as well. So, and Wes, you said you want to say something?
Yeah, I would just add, Janice, I completely agree with your assessment, Janice. I completely agree, and I think staff does too, and I know commission does. I would just tell you that in addition to focusing on the expenditure side, we are now going to focus somewhat more on the revenue side as well, and some opportunities that have gone just possibly overlooked. I can't put too much out right now, but we're just trying to reestablish some of those relationships with our community partners in and around the county, and see if we can get some help. I'll just kind of leave it there. All right.
City manager, pulling on that thread, on the revenue side, we'll be voting on the second reading the end of March on an impact fee. So Dave did a great job putting together. We're one of the few cities that doesn't have a comprehensive impact fee. And what that does is it takes the capital investment burden off the residents and gives basically a one-time tax to development. So I think that's the end of March. We'll vote on that second reading. And then there's disputes on how much revenue, but the idea is that we'll bring in revenue that will be off the residents' back in a way we could achieve millage.
And that won't hurt any new or existing residents at all.
That's right.
Any other? All right. So, yeah, go
Take
ahead.
a minute, and I think where Wes is headed is really fantastic. But to not pontificate for just another second, to appease Commissioner Williams, he's following on in the footsteps of A.J. Hudson and Wayne Caragino, who also were sharpening the pencil. And I just want to take a minute to thank both of those guys, too. They set the direction, and I think you are going to continue to amplify and increase what they were doing already. So I love it, and thank you to the guys who set us on this course.
All right, guys, thank you for coming. And did you want to say anything about this before I? Yeah, why don't you? Yeah, you can get the.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm with the Rotary Club of Cocoa Beach, Ellen Cruz, and we are having a big fundraiser on March 14th. It's at 6 p.m. and it's at Beachside Hotel and Suites. If you're available, it's called A Night at the Races, and it's going to be some videos of horse racing and also the artists from Studios of Cocoa Beach. We've got a lot of fun planned for the evening, and we'd love to have you at our event. So please see me after the meeting if you'd like more information. Tickets are $60, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see you there and support the Rotary Club and our projects. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are adjourned.